Today is Calvin Coolidge's 153rd birthday. So, in order to celebrate, I decided to make a video going over 10 very cool facts about him. This one hits very close to home for me, as Coolidge. Well, first off, happy Independence Day, Americans. Today is the 4th of July, 2025. 249 years ago today, America declared independence from Great Britain. So I think it's fair to say that the 4th of July is a very, very important day in American history. And not even just that. The main writer of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, his predecessor as president, John Adams, and one of his proteges, James Monroe, all died on the 4th of July. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson on 1826, the same day, the 50th anniversary of the Declaration, and James Monroe 5 years later. So while 3 presidents died on the 4th of July, there was only one to be born on the 4th of July, Calvin Coolidge. While it may not take you too long to find a voice recording of Calvin Coolidge, as I'm pretty sure there is a voice recording file on his Wikipedia page, getting him to be able to have a voice recording in the first place must have been pretty difficult. Every single report you'll find says that Calvin Coolidge was very taciturn, he was very quiet, he didn't speak to very many people because he just didn't like to. One of my all-time favorite quotes from the man: "You won't be called on to repeat it if you don't say anything." That's a pretty hard quote. Almost every single American president has had some sort of political experience before joining the presidency. And Calvin Coolidge did have such political experience. He served as the governor of Massachusetts. And I put that pause in because he was not born in Massachusetts. He was born in Vermont. His presidential library is located in Massachusetts, making him one of the very, very few American presidents whose presidential library is not located in the same state as their grave, as he is buried in Vermont. He didn't serve as the governor of Massachusetts for very long. He was only there for what, maybe 2 years before Warren Harding told him to become his vice president, and of course Calvin Coolidge accepted. But he was very, very important in Massachusetts state history, as he put an end to the Boston police strike. This was a strike that was occurring in Boston where the police officers were on strike. And that's not good, right? The police officers should be the one people who are not on strike. And Calvin Coolidge put an end to that. Only one president in American history completely eliminated any and all national debt that the United States had. And while it wasn't Calvin Coolidge, it was actually Andrew Jackson, which I'm sure I must have talked about in his 10 presidential fact video back in March. John Calvin Coolidge did quite a lot to try and eliminate national debt. He brought it down $7 billion with a B dollars. He went from 23 trillion to 17 trillion. No, that's not billion with a B, that's trillion with a T. That's a lot of work, Cal. Unfortunately, for most of American history, the only people who were eligible to become citizens were white men. Or I guess white women too, but they were kind of below white men for some reason. But in 1924, Calvin Coolidge changed that. The last group of citizens who were ineligible to become such were the Native Americans. Ironically, I think they would be the people who should get it first. But anyways, Calvin Coolidge granted it to them, and now for the first time, if you were born in the United States, you became a citizen. Calvin Coolidge didn't live much longer after leaving the presidency. His presidency ended on March the 4th in 1929, and he died on the 5th of January, 1933. His very short post-presidency can be explained very well. He was not all too happy. He was very, very depressed following the death of his son all the way back while he was serving as president. I can't go there because they're doing construction, so I'm going back. So yeah, that's why Calvin Coolidge was quite upset. However, his son's medical ailment was very treatable. he got a blister on his foot. So with modern medication, surely he'd be like almost every single president from the end of the Civil War. Well, I guess I could say the start of the Civil War now, right? Because 1860, well, yeah, from the start of the Civil War to the Great Depression, Calvin Coolidge was a Republican, and he was a pretty good one. I don't know what I was going with that. However, he was always a Republican. Well, I mean, that shouldn't be too surprising. He's from Vermont. Vermont never voted for a Democratic candidate until, what, 1964? But anyways, I know that Calvin Coolidge was a lifelong Republican because I bought his autobiography, and it clearly said that he supported Benjamin Harrison in the election of 1892, where he lost to the Democrat Grover Cleveland. He said that a bunch of his mates, and of course himself, felt pretty sad with Harrison's loss. Calvin Coolidge was not a very complicated guy. He was very simple. He liked simple things. I know this because his favorite food is apple pie, and his favorite drink is water. But you know what? I can't blame him. Water is probably the only thing I'll ever drink. So you know what? Big up Calvin. Although apple pie isn't obviously the only thing he ate. He liked chicken and chow mein. So, hey, good for him. It's the 1920s. And lastly, I'm going to talk about his inauguration. He was sleeping with his dad in Vermont. Well, not just his dad, his mom as well. He was sleeping at his parents' house in Vermont while President Harding was in the western... Did they call it the Western Seaboard? That doesn't sound right. He was in Alaska when he suffered a heart attack. He was taken down to California, where he died. He was awoken at 2 o'clock in the morning in Vermont by his father. His father then brought him a Bible and administered the oath of office. Now, usually the person to administer the oath of office is, of course, the Supreme Justice. What do they call it? The Supreme Chief Justice? I don't know, something like that. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Yeah, that sounds about right. So it's usually that person. But no, Calvin Coolidge did it with his dad. So that's pretty cool. And also, next, in 2 years, when he actually legitimately won an election, the person administering the oath was the Chief Justice, but it was a former president, William Howard Taft. How interesting. So there you have it. 10 facts about the 30th president, John Calvin Coolidge Jr. What a great guy. Personally, my favorite president, as I said in the intro. Did you know any of these facts? Did you learn anything? I hope you did learn something. I hope you didn't know all 10 of these, because I had to dig pretty far. I had to read his autobiography for one of these facts. So I hope you didn't know all of these facts. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And I guess, happy birthday, Calvin Coolidge. I don't know, you're dead.